this book is probably the one Marvel Now book that I've been waiting for, like, absolutely the most, and that's New Avengers #1, written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by, oh my god, I forgot, Steve Epting, who, you know, I got to know his stuff a lot on Captain America, so, Brubaker's run, which, you know, pretty good. But New Avengers, if you don't know, the cast for this book is the Illuminati, who was created by Brian Michael Bendis, and it was basically a secret gathering of Marvel's smartest and most powerful men who got together and decided kind of the fate of the world behind closed doors without checking in with anybody else, including their wives. And I say that because the team is, or was at the time, Professor X, Black Bolt, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, and Iron Man, and Namor, the Submariner. And they also asked Black Panther to join, but he was the only one out of all of them that said, this is a terrible, terrible idea. And as it turned out, actually you would have thought that would be a good idea, but it always turned out really badly. So I think I really liked all the Illuminati stories that Bendis did. Out of all of his Avengers stuff, I thought that was maybe his best stuff. So I was really looking forward to a new ongoing series with these guys, especially written by Jonathan Hickman, who I think it really plays into his strengths as like a plotter of like really involved, complex, year-long plots and stuff like this. So I have very high hopes for New Avengers. Plus, this version, you know, obviously Professor X is not on the team, but Black Panther, as you can see from the cover and from all the solicitations, Black Panther was going to be in it. So I was really intrigued to find out, you know, well, A, I really like Black Panther, and B, I was intrigued to see how they would get him to join when he thought it was such a bad idea, or even why these guys would get back together when, you know, it didn't ever work out good before. Plus, on top of that, Namor is in it, and if you had read any AVX, Namor and Black Panther are not going to be on good terms, because when Namor was possessed by the Phoenix Force, he like destroyed huge portions of Wakanda. So anyway, all that said, going in, I wasn't sure what this first issue would be like, but it was very well done. It was not just a gathering of the heroes where, you know, you spend 2 pages on each guy. The whole book is pretty much about Black Panther, and he's in Wakanda, and you see, you know, Hickman shows you why Wakanda is considered a really technologically advanced society, and, you know, not just technological, but in many ways. So I appreciated seeing that. But anyway, basically he runs into some beings who seem a little bit like heralds of Galactus. I mean, they aren't heralds of Galactus, but they are heralds of some world-destroying force, which ends up having T'Challa call the rest of the Illuminati together. So a really good first outing. Definitely lived up to what I was hoping it would be, and I can't wait to see Namor and Black Panther get into it and see what everybody else has to say with this team. So actually there's one other member on this team, but I won't say who it is because they don't show him on the cover, but you'll see on the last page. So really looking forward to that. Good stuff. Another Marvel Now book that came out, and this is like issue number 5 of All New X-Men. This book seems to come out like twice a week now. I don't know what's up with that. But I guess I'm not complaining because for the most part, you know, there were a couple issues I mentioned were not that good, but last issue was pretty strong, and this is again another pretty strong issue. The cover is pretty cool. As you can see, it's showing Jean Grey in all her different, you know, personas and past lives. So you get into that a little bit with this issue. I don't want to spoil it, but it just continues to be really well done. How the original kids are interacting with this new world, and I think Bendis is doing good stuff, and I really like Immomen's art, which I say all the time, but there's this one sequence where Jean Grey's in somebody's head, and they're like, again, not to spoil it, but it's really a very dynamic layout, and Stuart Immonen doesn't probably get a lot of credit or should get more credit for this book being good, because it's not just Bendis doing it, it's him with really great facial expressions and action, just doing it all. So another good outing for All New X-Men. The other new Marvel Now book out this week is Morbius, the Living Vampire #1, written by Joe Keating and with art by, who is the art by? Elson. Anyway, this book, they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but see how badass this looks? You know, I'm not the hugest vampire fan, but you know, there's certain things I would want from a vampire book, I guess, if I was to read one. And this, the story in here is hard to separate from this cover or what you want out of it. So, but I do believe you shouldn't review things based on what you wanted them to be. So, having said all that, the story being told here is kind of like Morbius is just an average Joe, and he's just it's kind of unappealing. I mean, I really don't like the narration. Wow, I'm just going off on this book. It's not bad. It's not what I expected, let's say, and that doesn't make it bad, but what can I say about it? He escaped from the raft because he was imprisoned, and you know, Spider-Man busted in there during that whole Spider-Man 699, 700, which I'll get to later. But anyway, Morbius broke out, and it's just, even aside from my expectations, they do develop the character. Oh, okay, so he breaks out of jail, and then he runs into this guy that he starts calling by his first name, but you don't even know if they knew each other. Maybe they just met. I think they just met. Anyway, he's like, dude, you need to lay low. Excuse me. You need to lay low and go to Brownsville, because no superheroes are in Brownsville. And like, personally, I don't know Brownsville well either, but it's like, there's all these like white gangster dudes, like punk rock gangster type dudes with like mohawks, and like I said, I have not been out to Brownsville, but that's not, they describe it as a very bad part of town, which from what I understand it is, but in my mind, when I think Brownsville, I think like MOP, Mashed Out Posse, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like, it's just, I don't know. Some people might enjoy Morbius. I did not, but that's all we'll say about that. Excuse me. And just a couple more Marvel books. A new Punisher series. There's always room for more Punisher miniseries, I guess, and this one's called Punisher Nightmare. It's written, as they say, a 5-issue weekly event from a writer-producer of TV's Walking Dead. I don't know the guy, last name Gimple. The art is by Mark Texieri, who, you know, he's a pretty good Punisher artist. And the story is, you see this other guy here. He's a current soldier who is back home from war, and he had the same exact thing happen to him that happened to Frank Castle. His whole family was gunned down by just low-life gangbangers, so it sort of shows the parallel story between those two. And it's actually well done. There's like these army diary entries from the other guy that are just, they let you know the character of him. And there's also inner narration by Frank Castle, which is also very good. Both of those are well done, but I'm not sure this story is going to go anywhere that we haven't been with Frank Castle before, so we shall see.